Hey guys, welcome back to MuscleMentor.net. I'm Brad Hull and this is Justin Harris. And right now we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to our heart, especially Justin. And that is, does it take any level of real intelligence to do? And if it does, is it good for growth? All right.
And that's really, this is like my pet peeve, and it just makes me want to pull my hair out talking to clients and stuff who overanalyze things and paralyze themselves by overanalyzing it.
Mhm.
And I almost have a belief that if, as far as bodybuilding and muscle growth is concerned, if it takes any thought or any intelligence, it's not going to be conducive to muscle growth. And this isn't a knock on bodybuilders or a knock on big bodybuilders, but and I don't want to name any bodybuilders, but picture your favorite mass monster, and tell me if you think he is, you know, overanalyzed or measuring out these minute amounts of different, calories and micronutrients and stressing about whether or not his sugar-free gum is allowed on a conscious diet, or measuring out. Well, I hear people talk about their GH, trying to break it into micro pulses and taking 16 shots a day. And you think these potheads playing video games all day, that they have to have a person on hand to remind them to eat? You think they're, no, that's not how bodybuilding works. And every little guy, I don't want to say little guy, but everybody I work with who's trying to get big, when they work with me, all they do is overanalyze everything. Everything. They know a million different ways that any food could be miseaten to make them small rather than big. They know a million different ways that they could accidentally take their test in the wrong muscle group and not only stop growing, but suddenly turn into a female. They know every exercise variation that could be done incorrectly, and it just blows my mind that how detailed and overanalyzed and obsessed they get with. Bodybuilding is simple. It's eat meat, eat some carbs, repeat that every 3 hours for the next 15 years, take a
And have a
bunch
heart
of
attack
gear.
at 45.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, that is pretty much what it is. But you eat meat and potatoes or chicken and rice or steak and rice or whatever every 3 hours. Train hard as you can, harder than everyone else. Take a bunch of gear and GH, and then if you have the genetics, boom, you're big.
Mhm.
But
Right.
there's some
Genetics.
fine tuning.
Yeah.
That's 90% of it. There's some fine tuning. I think the stuff that clients. I don't want to name any names, or it just the stuff people come up with, and I see it on Facebook everywhere all the time. These guys that just get so detailed and overly specific and worried about all these and mixing these weird peptide combinations and 7 different types of insulin. And I can tell you right now, yeah, yes, bodybuilders take gear, take a lot, and pros take a lot, but they are not dialing in, 0.363 IU of this human N with 0.4207 units. I mean, these insane things. No, they're slamming their growth. Have them forget to take multiple times a day, so they just take it all in the morning.
Mhm.
They take a bunch of gear. It's just that's what it is. And people overanalyze and everything.
Well, a really great example of exactly what you're talking about. I don't know what year it was. I think you can find it on YouTube or somewhere. But who was it? Tom Platz did like a series, and it was with all the top pros at the time. Of course, here's the funny
Yeah,
part: they have their faces blurred out, okay, and their voices are modified. But
yeah.
if you know bodybuilding, even if
Oh
that's
yeah,
pleasant, you can tell exactly who each person is, right? And of course, he's going through and he's talking with them, and they're going through their pro, and they're telling them like what they're taking and this, that, and when they started, and this, that, and the other. But it's just so funny. The funniest part to me is like you can tell it's Fonny Rollman, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like
Pretty, pretty,
if you say "yeah, buddy" when you're talking about stuff,
yeah.
you kind of know who it is.
I
But the,
pretty
the
much
stuff that they
think
were
that.
saying,
Pretty much
he
think
hardly knew what he. I mean, like if you listen to him now, you're just like, that's wrong. That is not like
Yeah, that most of them don't even know what they're taking. They
that's the
get
whole
a
point.
coach,
Yeah.
yeah, they get a stack from their coach or whatever, and they just
Mhm.
take it. They don't know, or I mean, I can guarantee that every schmuck on the internet weighing 185 pounds on their third cycle
Yep.
that is trying some weird exotic compound knows more about gear than 90% robot. Pro bodybuilders got most. They just have most of it's genetics, but no, they just take the same basic stuff, and they take the basic stuff because that's what works. These new, like, what's the new thing now? Ment. I don't even know what that is, but
I don't
people are. people are always asking about it, and it's like, no, these new when pharmacies when pharmacies were really working on this stuff, they pretty much nailed it. They don't mess around. They don't do weird derivatives, and they find what works best, what's most potent. You need to fix anemia, you need to increase EPO output, anadrol. You need to prevent wasting, anadrol. You need to raise testosterone levels, testosterone. Let's add a little variant to it, make it orally bioavailable, and prevent wasting again. D-ball. You want something. You want to remove the androgenic aspect and create a more anabolic environment. DECA or EQ. There's these weird new exotic derivatives of I don't even know what they are anymore. But I can guarantee you that the big guys you're trying to get don't know what they are either and haven't used them.
Right. Yeah. So like we said before, the over information, the sheer amount of information that's out there, it's great. I mean, if you want to learn new facts, if there was like a board game, like one of those board games where like random facts helps you win points, but it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of you actually putting on muscle tissue or you actually becoming a better competitor or doing, going further in the sport. And our humble opinion.
I'll keep going on my rant too.
Go.
It goes with everything. People, like the whole overtraining thing.
Mm-hmm.
I get, if you ask Ronnie Coleman what overtraining is, he probably hasn't heard that term. Or if he did, he never paid attention what it is. He doesn't know or care what it is. Ask any 145-pound guy in the gym about overtraining, and they'll tell you a million scientific studies, all this stuff about overtraining, and they worry every workout that they might be overtraining. To me, I mean, maybe you can overtrain. You're at the gym an hour a day, 5 days a week. You're not gonna. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, can you imagine going to any other sport and saying like, probably could have been a professional golfer, but I played too much golf.
Yep.
I probably could have been. I could have been a world record. Right? I could have been a top baseball player, but I practiced my swing like hours a day and just totally got overtrained.
Right.
I realize there's a capacity the body can handle, but your 1 hour a day isn't probably reaching it. And maybe if it is, but if there's bigger things to worry, that's the least of your worries. If you're training so hard that you actually get overtrained, you're probably still going to be growing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and the funny part is, like, the bigger you are and the stronger you are, it should technically be easier for you to get overtrained. Because if you're pulling 700 pounds on a deadlift or more, and during your training, as opposed to guys 145 pounds and is pulling 225, I don't know what 145 pound guys pull, but like 225 or 250, whatever. Okay. Like, it is so much easier for that person's central nervous system to get burnt out. The guy who's pulling 700, I don't care how much bigger he is, just because it's such a higher workload, right? But it always seems like those aren't the guys that are technically as worried about it as much as the guys who are much smaller. And another example is, I have plenty of friends who are in special operations, Navy SEALs, divers, all that type of shit, right? Now these guys, and it's funny because like I'll talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, and ask about how training's going and all that. And they're like, yeah, so I do a heavy workout in the morning, which heavy workout is going to be, okay, listen, they're doing heavy deadlift, heavy bench. They're doing like a full hour and a half, like bodybuilding type routine. Okay. And then they go for a run, and a run isn't like, and then I did like, a half mile and it was great. A run is anywhere from 8 to 11 to 12 miles. Okay. Then at lunch or during midday, they come back and then they do a light workout, which they call a light workout is going to be like strongman stuff. Okay. So farmers carry, and I'm talking fucking heavy farmers carries, this shit with the stones and all that type of stuff. They do that for another hour. And then at night, if they want, they'll do something else. But usually they just relax. But these guys, their diets are usually pretty good, or they're at least eating to maintain. They're doing weird stuff like putting avocados in their shakes or whatever it is that they saw on the internet that's healthy. But not only does the genetic aspect come into it, but the mental aspect where they don't understand overtraining. There's no such thing. There's no such thing where, all of a sudden you're just too tired to do shit. It's not in their vocabulary. It's not in their mind. And so they don't. And so that always, and so I like to ask them about like, the stuff that's out in bodybuilding, like, intra-workout nutrition and, are they doing this? Are they using bulletproof coffee? Just the stuff that's out there in general on the internet, and they've never heard of any of it.
Yeah.
Because they don't have time for it.
Yeah, they're out there getting shit done.
Yeah,
But
they're gone 290, 300 days a year. They don't even know what fucking Facebook is.
yeah,
They don't know who the newest Instagram what do you call it, the have the most followers, like the influencers. They have no idea what the influencers are doing. So yeah, when it comes to overtraining, I tend to think about that too. But
yeah. And I know everyone's going to see this, and all they're going to take for it is, well, Brad Justin said that there's no such thing as overtraining. I'm not saying that.
right.
I'm saying that you will never find the top person in a sport
Mm-hmm.
of any sport, or the top performers in anywhere, the guys who are excelling above and beyond everyone else. You're never going to talk to that person and hear them worry about overtraining. The only people you're going to hear worry about overtraining are the guys at the very bottom, who are the guys that are at the top are going to get there through grit, hard work, whatever, and that's their only worry, is getting the shit done, not worrying about getting it done too much.
Yeah.
And I think that's another big over analyzing thing that drives me crazy.
Right. And instead of over analyzing it, maybe just look at it for what's actually in reality, which is those guys, they're meant to be at the head of the pack. They're genetically meant to be there. And no matter what you take or what you do or whatever, and this doesn't mean to be depressing or whatever, but that's why there is that huge divide. Maybe you are overtraining. Maybe you are 145 pounds and you are overtraining, but that probably doesn't bode well for your pro, your goal to become a pro within, in 18 months.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my take.